Hi, good. How are you?
I'm good. Happy Bell Let's Talk Day.
Happy Bell Let's Talk Day. I'm so excited to get into it.
I know. So I was just doing a little spiel. I'll get into the full spiel. As some people know, this is my great friend Asma. I'm so excited to do another real talk with you this evening.
Mhm.
So it's a very special edition, like I was saying, because it is Bell Let's Talk Day, which means a lot of attention is on mental health and what we can be doing when we aren't feeling so great. Last year, Bellet's Talk Day actually raised an all-time record of messages and money donated, which is really cool. But I'd love to see it. I would love to see it matched this year, if not topped. How cool would that be?
That would be
Um,
incredible.
so remember, make sure that you remember every text message sent, every tweet, every TikTok using hashtag Bellet's Talk. And video views on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, basically every social media platform donates 5 cents to Canadian mental health programs. So that's tons of ways that you can engage and spread the message. And that's what I love about it is Bell Let's Talk Day is so active on social media, and it's a great way to get the conversation started. So with that out of the way, hello, Asma. How are you?
Hello, hello. I'm good. How are you doing, Alex?
I'm good. You know what? I had a little bit just with the theme of Bell Let's Talk. I had a little bit of a an anxious fit, but I am feeling okay right now. Oh, Asma, we're just asking if you're able to get a bit more light. I'm not sure if
Yes,
people can
I
see you
am.
properly.
Sorry about that.
No
Is that a little bit
worries.
better?
Oh yeah, that's perfect. There you
My
are.
apologies, everyone.
No, it happens, especially with the nights, and it gets dark so early now, right? It's
It
getting
does.
lighter though. It's getting nice.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, let's talk. I thought we would kind of stick to the theme of getting help when you need it, and knowing when to reach out. So I want to know a little bit about you and a little bit about your journey, but I want to start with an icebreaker because again, it is something that needs to be talked about, but I also want to know about your week in general, you know? So how has this week been for you?
This week has been interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I find that like my mental illness is a little bit extra this week. I guess it's a good time to have that let's talk. It has been, we're kind of reaching our limits with the pandemic and the isolation, and it is, getting to everyone. So for myself, I've just, been taking it a little easier. And my apologies, it was dark earlier, but I've been kind of just under the covers and resting and kind of managing that way. Just because I had a bit of slightly hypomanic episode, and for those, it really helps to just lower the stimulation around you. Now I'm kind of more settled today, so that's been great.
Yeah, for sure. I can totally relate. It's felt really, I feel more anxious than usual lately for some reason. And that's not something that I'm used to. But I'm kind of taking
Mhm.
it one day at a time, managing it with it the best I can, you know. And with that, I want to know what's one thing you feel like you've accomplished this week? This can even be like for me, getting out of bed sometimes is an accomplishment, right?
Yeah. Honestly, getting out of bed is one of the hardest things sometimes, especially when like you wake up and it's still dark out, and then like it's kind of like, feeling like Groundhog Day these days. And so yeah, that was one of the hard things. I think one thing I accomplished this week was cleaning my bathroom. It's been a while. And
That's
like
good.
it's hard to manage like, regular daily tasks sometimes. So I felt really good to just take that time and clean things up and just make them pretty and shiny. So
And it's interesting because I find sometimes when I like clean, the scent of like a clean house makes me feel good.
it really does.
Yeah, I know for me, I think I've made almost every meal this week for myself and for my
Mm.
partner. So that's a huge accomplishment because we lived off of like fast food for months because we just didn't have the energy to cook. So trying to
Mm-hmm.
like make proper meals and fresh food and veggies and stuff like that, I think it's made a really big difference in kind of my energy levels too and getting out of bed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. That's awesome that you've been cooking. It's honestly it's such a great way of self-care. Like it can feel like, you know, this big task and everything, but it's just such a good accomplishment at the end. When you're done, you get to enjoy a meal with your loved ones. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's similar to cleaning, right? Because at the end you've got like something that smells good, but something that also looks a lot nicer and it's kind of helps. I find when I clean, it helps kind of declutter my mind too.
100%. Yeah, I mean, the environment really affects us, right? So it
Especially like uh I don't know if you're big on spring cleaning, like doing one huge like deep clean, the baseboards, everything, and after
mhm.
that, oh my gosh.
Yes, yeah. I like to take a good week with my spring cleaning and then, get like those donation bags together because there's always things that like, you're not going to use, but someone else can. So it's always a fun time for me.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, and Una said it's so nice to wake up to it. I love cleaning my room for that reason too.
Hmm.
Yeah, so before we get into really the discussion, I also want to bring up we have a little bit of a contest for Starbucks gift cards. I'll tell you the details about halfway through the stream. Um, but yeah, it'll be another Starbucks gift card giveaway. Thank you again, Diana, for your amazing support and donating again. Like, wow, you are absolutely unbelievable, and it's so appreciated by all of us. I know we all cannot thank you enough. So stay tuned for details on how to win that. But right now, I want to kind of get into reaching out and knowing when to reach out. I want to know a bit about your story. Like, what initially made you feel like you wanted to talk to someone?
Hmm. Um, I think one of the first things, so for me, it was interesting. I moved to Canada when I was around almost 17. And like, it was different. I'd never heard of depression. Like, I heard the word, but I didn't see it as like an illness because, I mean, in Pakistan, it's kind of, it's different. People go through some really traumatic experiences. They're really common. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with the way the political stuff is and all of that. But so, it was kind of this understood thing that, oh, everyone's depressed. It's a normal human experience, which is, it's a cool way to look at it in the sense that it is not that stigmatized in that way. But then it comes down to no one really knows what the resources are, what the support is. So when I first came here and I was going to my dentist appointment and they have that thing to fill out. And it was like, do you have any pre-existing conditions? And depression was one of them. And I was like, whoa, okay, these guys see it as a thing that you can do something about, which I
Mm-hmm.
was like, that's really cool. And then I started looking it up and finding ways to cope about it. And I saw posters around my school of you need to talk to someone, come here, make an appointment. So that's what I did. um, so for me, really, like the awareness piece helped me reach out.
That's awesome. And I think that's something like that helps a lot of people is knowing that there are people who are feeling the same way and that there are people who want to help.
Mm-hmm.
I know
Absolutely.
for me, like it was initially I started to feel super sick all the time for no reason. Well, it wasn't for no reason, but I didn't know that there was a reason. I just knew I was feeling sick. And I found out that that was anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I kind of had a name for that, I immediately wanted to figure out what I could do about it and who I could reach out to and how I could kind of make myself feel a bit better when I do feel, especially moments where I feel like I can't breathe, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think, I'm sure you've experienced this. I'm sure a lot of people have experienced this. It's not a fun experience. So for me, it was just, I wanted to have tools for when I didn't feel so great.
Yeah, and it's so important. Anxiety is one of those things that it just kind of eats at you a little bit, right? And it's incredible what those tools that you've learned can do for anxiety. it doesn't make it go away, but it really gets to a point where you're like, hey, I can do this. I can manage this.
And even like small tools that you don't fully think of. Like I know my mom got me a weighted blanket for Christmas and it's been awesome. Like it's really kept me calm when I get into those moments where I feel like I can't breathe. So even things like I didn't think I would ever use one of those because I didn't think of it. It didn't come to my brain, but as soon as I got it, it's really helped.
Weighted blankets are awesome. I got one a couple years ago and it's literally everything. It's so
Right?
good.
It's so
Yeah.
nice.
It's so nice, especially like if I have a panic attack and then I just go like, give me my blanket, and then I just kind of, and it feels so much better, like instantly goes
I know.
down.
It almost, and I find if I can't sleep, like I put that on immediately and I'm out like light.
Yeah, it really feels like a hug.
Yeah, it's nice.
hmm
So keeping on that theme, like what moment was there a moment in your life that you kind of knew that you wanted to reach out, that you wanted more support, that you didn't want to be like alone in this?
Yeah. Now that you say that, I have this like distinct memory of my first year at university. I was like alone like for the first time in life, right? And like I kind of knew people on my floor, but like not really, right? We just met. And I'm sitting in my room. I'm like on the floor. I'm having a panic attack, and I'm like, what do I do? Okay, I can take out my phone. It's all blurry. I'm like trying to find someone to call, and then I go through my list. I'm like, I don't know all these people that well. Like, what do I do? And after that, panic attack, because obviously I couldn't function after that. But then we had residence dons, and we were told that anything happens, you can talk to them. So I just went to their room the next day and let them know what was going on, and it was really really sweet. She got me tissues, she listened to me, she really validated what I was going through, and gave me some suggestions and gave me some numbers I could call. And to me she was a stranger, but she was really really helpful in that moment.
Yeah, and I find that happens a lot. Like usually when you're on your own for the first time, it's almost like something hits you, because that happened to me similarly. When the first time I went to college, I never felt so alone. But
hmm
I quickly started making resources and friends and like people who made me feel like I wasn't alone. And I think it's such an interesting experience. I think school in general for everyone is such an interesting experience, right? Good and bad.
Definitely. It's such a big part of what makes us who we are, regardless of how our experiences go with that. But those bonds that you make really end up being some of the strongest.
hmm And I think even like like you said, she was a stranger at the time, but it turned into being someone who was really there for you. And I think that's important too, is that somebody who seems like they are a stranger or they might not get it, might get it more than you know.
Definitely. And it's interesting. It's like those little moments where you really need it. Somehow people are there, even if you don't know them too well. I've had moments where like there was someone that I barely knew and they're going through something and I'm
hmm
able to support them through it. And it makes that bit of a difference, these kind of I feel like those feelings of anxiety and depression almost unite us in a way where like you might not know the person, but you look at each other, you're like, hey, we get it, we know what's going on. We're here for each other.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's nice because like it's almost like you don't have to say anything with those people. Um, they just kind of know, and you kind of know.
Mhm. Yeah, 100%.
Sean said it gives that message of you're not alone and you're in this together. Absolutely. That's what I love.
It is so true. The more that we can remember that, the more we can remind others of that. I feel like it makes a world of a difference.
It really does. And I think, like, especially right now, a lot of people feel really alone. But there's almost a piece that everyone is feeling this, right? Like, everyone is going through this experience at once.
hmm Oh, I have a fun stat for you. So during the pandemic, social support actually did reduce the risk of depression by around 63%,
Oh,
and,
wow.
the risk of sleep problems by 57%.
57?
Yeah, might not be totally accurate because sometimes I get my twos and my sevens, but it is around
It
somewhere in the
makes
60 mark and somewhere in the 50 mark is, and that I believe that's specific to Canada. Um, yeah, it was really cool for me to see because, social support, we usually see it as like, giving each other hugs, spending time with family and things like that. But really like being online and calling someone and checking in on them, those things make a world of a difference as well.
Yeah, they really do. And I've noticed even like branching out to different social medias. Like I know my friends and I use Steam a lot. And we use like voice chat and stuff like that. Facebook Messenger a lot. And there's so
Mhm.
much now. That's I think the best part of this time, right? Is there's so many ways to connect.
Absolutely. And I find that it's a great opportunity to really just kind of open ourselves up and be more flexible. I used to make online friends when I was younger, so it wasn't like, you know, totally new to me, but it has been a challenge for quite a few people who might not have access to technology or might be
Hmm.
going through it the first time. So, in those cases, like, I think a little bit more education around those could be really helpful, little community supports to get people set up with it. But the
Hmm.
great thing about technology is it's not really hard to learn, and anyone can find support on there.
Yeah, and even like smaller areas outside cities. I know sometimes my internet is not the greatest, and that
Mhm.
can be difficult too for socializing.
Yeah,
Una
absolutely.
said, I guess that's what Bell Let's Talk Day is intended to bring out. Absolutely. And speaking of Bell Let's Talk Day, that will lead me into my segue to talk about the Starbucks gift card contest. So, if you want your chance to win a $10 Starbucks gift card, we're going to do it a little differently if you've been on the stream before, just because it's Bell Let's Talk Day. So, what I'm going to get you to do, I will repeat this at the end. Don't worry if you don't get this right now. I want you to take a screenshot, either texting, tweeting, using hashtag Bell Let's Talk, and send it to our direct messages on Instagram by midnight. What we're going to do is we're going to announce a winner on our Instagram tomorrow. Um, and yeah, that's about it. It's super, super easy. So make sure that you do that screenshot and send it to our DMs of hashtag Bell Let's Talk. And you will be entered in for a $10 Starbucks gift card. Like I said, super, super, super easy. So yeah, now that that is done and out of the way, I will repeat that. That was a lot of info. I know it's different than how we usually do things, but I will repeat it again. So no worries if you didn't catch that or if you're just joining right now. If you are joining right now, it is Bell Let's Talk Day. And I do encourage you to text, tweet out hashtag Bell Let's Talk. It donates 5 cents every time to Canadian mental health initiatives, and it's super appreciated. So, Asma, now that I've got that breath out of the way, um, I want to know how you felt when you reached out. I know the first time I felt I was so nervous about like I don't know if my friends will understand me. I don't know if my mom will even understand me. I don't even know how I feel. So how am I going to tell someone how I feel? I don't know if you felt
Mm.
that way at all, but how did you feel reaching out?
Oh man, it was hard. It was almost easier to do with a stranger, I'll be honest, because when, you're close friends, some it can get even harder to worry about what they might think. But really, I feel like it's kind of like a seal that once you break, and then people get it. When I started talking openly about my stuff, I noticed a lot of other people opening up as well. And it's just that little step that's like, hey, I'm okay to talk about it. And then other people feel like she's a safe person to talk to as well. And I find that like really the stigma kind of keeps us from from letting ourselves be vulnerable in that way. But I think, like how Adam says all the time, that vulnerability is strength at the end of the day. And I love that quote so much,
Mm-hmm.
because it's really what is all about. You're showing great strength by reaching out, and others show strength by accepting that, by not judging, and by sharing as well.
Absolutely. And I know I've gained even self strength reaching out. Like I've realized, hey, this is really hard and good for you for doing it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think the more times we can kind of pat ourselves on the back, it really helps.
Yeah. And sometimes I notice for me, like when I really, really feel like I need to reach out, it can almost be overwhelming, right? Like I don't know who to talk to. I don't know. I have like my parents, I have my friends, I have my partner. Like I have so many groups of people. I don't know who to go to. And I don't know who I'd feel safest with because I feel safe with all of them, right? So it's
Hmm.
just like I know I personally, this is gonna sound so silly, but like it works for me. So I have a list in my phone under a password, and it just has lists of people I can call if I feel overwhelmed or if I'm in an emergency. People I feel safest with. So on the top of that list will be my mom. So if I'm in a crisis, I have my mom right there. I know, okay, my mom's right there. I know to call her. You know what I mean? And it just,
Hmm.
if I can't think, it almost thinks for me.
That honestly is amazing. I love that idea. I'm actually gonna start doing that now because I kind of go through the same thing where I'm like, I have all these people that love me and I love and I feel comfortable with, but who do I reach out to right now?
I know,
Who do I
right?
pick from? Who's the lucky winner? But it's really like that is an incredible way to go about it, and I believe that is part of crisis planning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Making that
100%.
list of people.
100%. And it's so important to like, to know your plan. It may work for me, it may not work for everyone, right? Everyone's
Hmm.
completely different.
It's so true. Yeah. And I find that like, it can almost be a fun thing to sort of explore what works for you, what you're comfortable with, like who you're comfortable sharing with. It can even help to write it down in a journal. Like, hey, today I talked to this person. I didn't know them too well, but this went really well, and I talked about this, and you can always
Hmm.
go back to that. Hey, that could be a safe person to reach out to again.
That's awesome, actually. That's a really good idea. I'm going to write that down tonight, too.
Awesome.
I want to know, too, because I know you love speaking as much as I do. It's one of
Hmm.
your big passions, too. So, does it ever feel like reaching out to, like, not just to yourself, but to your audience?
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like oh, that's such a sweet comment. Thank you.
Oh,
Oh, she's my friend. She's really sweet.
that's
Um,
amazing.
mhm.
I agree. You are very smart and you are one of the strongest people I know, Asma. So, I completely agree.
Oh, I really appreciate that. Oh, so much validation. I love it. Yeah, I find that like, you know what, even sharing on social media, it does help. It does help. And then sometimes when I'm sharing like even like a depression meme, right? Like, you get someone responding with a laughing emoji or someone checking in on you, and all of those things make some really great validation.
Yeah, and like, I think we talk about like, oh, you shouldn't base your validation on like likes and stuff, but sometimes it genuinely can just make you feel good. Like I know when I post a really funny meme and all my friends like it, like I feel so good about myself. I'm like, oh, I'm so funny.
It's true. It's true. And I think it's kind of just like, it goes back to like social media hygiene. How we're using it is a lot
Hmm.
more important than like, how much we're using it. So, really just creating a safe space online. And like, it's so great that we have that close friends tab on our stories. I love that. I use it all the
I
time.
love that one.
Yeah. You just have a safe place where you can just share with people what you're actually going through, people you're comfortable with, other people don't have to see it, and I put my full personality on there.
Yeah, see, I'm not super on social media all the time, but when I am, like I use a lot of the privacy filters just to like filter
Hmm.
out, make sure I know who's there, who's watching, because I don't, I know what to post and what not to post for the people on my feed. Um,
Yes.
so I don't want like to trigger a certain amount of person with a meme I post or like. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they're really valuable, especially for expressing yourself. If you feel comfortable around a group of people and not another group of people on your social media, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Now that you're saying group chats are amazing.
Mhm.
I love it. It's like, you can just send a message to the air in the chat and someone will get back to you. Someone will send you a meme back or laugh. You can just talk about your day and there's no pressure. I love that about group chats. Or it's like you don't really have to pick the person you're reaching out to. You just kind of throw it in the group.
I like how there's no pressure to answer too. Like it's kind of
Because
like someone else will answer for you if you don't want to answer in that moment.
exactly. And oh my God, it's so great. Because it's like, not everyone has time to answer the phone, but even like sending a voice note, I've been doing that all the time now. And
Hmm.
really, I feel like, I vented and I feel safe knowing that the person's gonna, I'm not bothering them. They're gonna listen on their own time and then send me one back.
Yeah, I that's honestly group chats take so much pressure off like the interaction,
Hmm.
and it's almost guaranteed that one person will find you funny if it's a big enough group. So I like that too.
It's true. It's true.
Awesome. So for anyone just joining in, welcome. It is Bell Let's Talk Day. Um, Super exciting day. We are having a Starbucks gift card contest that I will be talking about again at the end, and you will find out how to win a $10 Starbucks card, possibly if you're lucky. Um, so yeah, it's been a great conversation so far. If you're just tuning in, we're talking about reaching out for help when you need to, and some tools that we found that have helped us, especially keeping social and reaching out over the internet during times like now. Without the internet, though, do you have things that make you feel better when you're starting to feel down? It doesn't have to be people, it can be like pets, music, stuff like that.
Yes. I like to keep a lot of grounding objects. So, literally within arm's reach. Right now, if I reach out my arm, I have my rhino that I
Oh,
like to hug. He's like the cutest.
oh my
There's
gosh,
so many things I can do with it. Like I can put my fingers in this thing. I can play with this.
I
It's all
love stuffed animals, so I'm a big fan.
Stuffed animals are the best. I have this like tiny like bean bag that I hold and it's kind of like ASMR sounds and then like it's just feels so good in my hands. Other things I like to do just, I have the weighted blanket. I have journals like right by my bed. I have I try to drink a lot of water. I find that sometimes I'm feeling really anxious and then I just have a sip of water and I'm like, "Whoa, I feel a bit better."
It almost resets your system, eh? Oh,
Hmm.
we've got some great comments down here. Yes, popping balloons. That's actually great. It's kind of like bubble wrap, too.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God. And just referencing this, I saw her story about popping balloons, and it's a really cool way. You basically blow up a balloon and you imagine that all your kind of negative feelings are going into that balloon. And then when you pop it, it's like gone,
That's
you know?
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I've got more stuff to write down today.
Mhm.
Yes, I love watching old TV shows. I actually read something about that too. Sometimes watching shows that you've seen a bunch of times can actually soothe anxiety because you know what's
Yeah.
going to happen.
Hmm. Oh my God, now that you mention that, I just discovered this the other day. But so I'm like a 90s kid, right?
Hmm.
And I was missing like, just the experience of flipping through the channels on TV back in the day. And
Yeah.
literally, if you go on YouTube and you search like 90s TV, like flipping channels, and there's videos of it, somebody just
Oh my
flipping through the
gosh.
channels of like TVs in the 90s, and then I went through all the decades, and I was just like, this is awesome. It's so relaxing.
That's so soothing.
Yeah.
I don't know, something for me, like I'm a big fan of The Office. And I can watch that show over and over and I know every line and it's still funny to me and so soothing when I'm like super anxious just because I know what's gonna happen and I know it's funny.
Yes. Oh my God, The Office is the best. It's like the most rewatchable show out there.
100%. Oh, journaling. Journaling's great.
Journaling is awesome. I love it.
Taylor saw the post too. Yeah. Um, it's the same thing as getting a blank plate from the store and a Sharpie. You write down everything that is bugging you and you're done, smash it. All the bad things go away. Yes. They have rage rooms for that, don't they?
They do, yeah. It's like what is it called? Like yeah, it's like a smash room. Like you just kind of
Yeah.
bring the stuff you want to break. It's really cool. I always wanted to try that actually.
I'm gonna try that after like everything reopens again. I
Yeah.
think it would be so beneficial. Like I can see how it would work, right? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Lolita's a fan of The Office too. Good.
Yay.
I,
We
uh,
should,
I
we
don't
should have
know.
an office watch party.
I know, right? I don't know. There's something about those like shows that you've seen 1,000 times, even when you're like, oh, I could watch something new. I kind of want to watch like a different series. I want to get into something that someone's been talking about. I find myself gravitating more towards the
Yeah.
shows I've seen.
It's just a nice safe space, right? Like you know what's happening. There's no pressure to keep all your attention on there, but you know it's there for you.
Oh, we've got Friends. I don't know if you, I've never, honestly, I hate to admit this, but I have almost never seen a full episode of Friends.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mhm.
I think I was more into like that 70s show growing up and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Oh no, I totally understand. It really depends on the person. I used to love Friends so
My
much. Like,
brother too. He's a
yeah.
huge Friends fan.
Oh, it's awesome. I had so much fun with it, but then I rewatched it to the point where I can't watch it anymore.
I've heard that a few times,
Yeah.
honestly. But it's one of those shows, right? It's a feel-good show. It's a show that you can go to, and a lot of people can go to when they're feeling horrible, and they feel great immediately
Mhm.
after. I
Yeah.
know I have to watch it. I've heard that so many times.
Oh yeah, it's
Um,
a fun one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it is comfort, and I think there is nothing wrong with taking comfort in things that you take comfort in,
Mhm.
especially like harmless stuff like TV shows, music. I know I take comfort in even just fuzzy, warm blankets sometimes, you know?
Oh yeah, I like, you know, lately I've been keeping a space heater by me all the time, and whether I'm feeling hot or not, I just like that feeling of something warm around me.
Me too. My poor partner, she's constantly running warm and I'm always cold. So I'll have like our space heater fireplace on cranked all day. It's like 40 degrees in our house and I'm just like content and she's boiling over. But I find comfort in that warmth, you know?
hmm
Oh, there's some people. Food. Oh, yeah. Don't get me started on food. I could talk about food all night.
Food is honestly, it's just the key to everyone's heart.
And it's so honestly, I think it is a good way to kind of express how you're feeling too. I know when I cook, and I talked about earlier, I've been cooking more. I put a lot of my emotion into my cooking.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's so fun. You know, even just seeing all the colors and how they change and doing all those,
Mhm.
it's just cooking can just turn into like this complete self-care activity.
Yeah, it's almost like an art.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also love putting my headphones on and just putting my favorite music on full blast. Yeah, that's one of my favorite things to do, actually.
hmm
Comfy sweats, also one of my favorite things. I just got
Yeah.
into recently got back into taking photos. Awesome.
Great
Wow.
one, Sean. Yeah, photos are so fun and like there's so much we can do with it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's such a creative outlet too, right?
Yeah, like I used to play with photography and it just, you know, literally going for a walk and just adding like that bit of like pictures of those little moments you see, it can
Hmm.
just change the whole experience. You get to remember that walk, you get to kind of, you know, it's like you're doing something more than just walking.
Yeah, you get to kind of remember it too and remember the moments, right?
Hmm
Hello, there are a lot of people joining in too. Hello, everyone who's new. It's Bell Let's Talk Day. Yay. That's exciting. Um, we are having a Starbucks gift card giveaway. I will give you more details momentarily. because we are getting towards the end. We're starting to wrap up, unfortunately. It's so sad because I always have such an amazing time just chatting with you, Asma, and just hearing your advice because you are genuinely one of the wisest people I know.
Thank you. Oh.
And I want to know, with that, what advice would you give someone who wants to reach out, but they might be worried about what people are thinking?
hmm I would say it really like it helps to check in with yourself. And just think like what is one person? You can just pick one person. It can be someone you feel safe with, someone that has helped you in the past, someone that you know hasn't judged you before. And just kind of ask for a private moment and ask if it's okay to talk to them about something that's bothering you, and really just take it from there and give them the chance to take care of you a little bit. Not everyone, I mean, most people are going to make mistakes while talking to you. They might say something, something that's a little bit off, but it's, those little communication errors, they do happen, but it doesn't take away that somebody wants to be there for you. And Yeah, I think really it can be just finding that one person. And it doesn't have to be someone you know. It can be a stranger. It can be calling a hotline. It can be, a kid's help phone. They're so great. So even if there's not someone in your life that, you might not, someone that you might feel comfortable with in your life, you can always like reach out to kids help phone. There's always someone there to help.
Yeah, and I know, especially for me, like I used to when I didn't have any friends or anything, I used to call kids help phone, and I remember it was the first time that I felt like someone was actually listening to me. So they are a
Mhm.
great resource. I know, like sometimes it's hard to pick up the phone and call and reach out, but it really like when you do connect, it can really, really help. And I know it really helped me as a teenager and even like later on into my life. I know people who have also had to call kids help phone and they've given them great advice.
Yeah, it's a really awesome resource. And another one I came across was meetup.com.
Hmm.
They do have support groups on there. Although it's good to search like safe space with what you're looking for, but I find that it's a good way to just find like a social group with people sharing a common interest. And, as long as you're searching for a safe space, I
Hmm.
find that it is a good resource as well.
And I've heard a lot about that too. And I know that they're even doing like virtual meetups for interests too, like Zoom
hmm
calls and
Yeah, Zoom calls. They do like Zoom, like kind of in an informal support group, or even like on some like a topic you're all interested in. So like, if I'm interested in something that maybe my friend circle isn't, then I can create a friend group around that on Meetup.
hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I think is so cool about apps like Meetup and stuff like that. Diana also said, if you don't feel comfortable yet talking to anyone, a first step would be to feel strong enough to admit to yourself that what you're experiencing is not wrong. That is such a good point.
Oh my God, I love that, Diana. Thank you for sharing. That is golden advice. I love it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think for a long time, I think a lot of people who have experienced any type of mental illness or even mental hardship, mental struggle, um, you feel like you're wrong. You feel like you've done something wrong. You feel like everyone else is okay and you're not, but it's not true. That's just your brain telling you something that's not correct. Like a lot of people are going through what you're going through, and you're
hmm
not alone, and you're not wrong. It's not something you've done. It's something that you will grow from.
Yeah, I remembered this quote, just hearing you say that. It's that, you know, things might not get better, but you will get better at it.
Hmm. I love that. Oh, I actually, I'm writing down so much affirmation. That's incredible. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, and I think the first step is kind of being honest with yourself, even if you can't identify how you're feeling. I know for me, a lot of people who have heard my story know that I have issues identifying my feelings. But even just saying, hey, my chest feels kind of weird, or I'm not feeling right today, is the step in the right direction for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Just even like a little way to open ourselves, it can really make a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. We've got a few more comments. Everyone feels things differently, and the same words said to one person may not be processed the same way when said to someone else. Exactly. That's a very
Mhm.
good point, too.
That's really important. I think it's a good thing to kind of remember that, we have to be mindful of, how we talk to people, how we share things,
Mm-hmm.
it and really goes down to, finding that person that won't be judging you in that moment. Or maybe someone that you've seen not judging other people or talking openly about mental health themselves. They might actually be a great resource to go to.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Lolita said, love that quote. We got some thumbs up. That's awesome.
Thank you.
I just think, especially in times like now, it is important to reach out because there are people who are feeling the exact same way. And I bet it's people that you're even close to, you know? I know
Mhm.
I reached out to my friend and I said, hey, man, I'm really not feeling great lately. And he said, me too, man. You want to talk about it? And that was the opening up, right?
Mhm. Yeah, it can really just be as simple as just checking in and saying, "How are you?" Or, saying, "Hey, I'm not doing too well today. Today I can't join for video games,"
Hmm.
that kind of thing. Even setting those kinds of limits and making that space for ourselves, I think that that can also really help. Just kind of showing people like what you're okay with and what you're not okay with, because that helps
Hmm.
them understand you better and avoid those sort of communication mistakes.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, as usual, like I genuinely love hearing from you because your advice is always just like so insightful. Um, we've got a question from Diana, and then I will talk about the contest again, and I will tell everyone how to win a $10 Starbucks gift card, which is very exciting. I don't know if you're a Starbucks fan, Asma, but I am. I would love it
Mm.
for myself, but one of you lucky people is getting it. So Diana asked, what made you decide to join YouthSpeak to talk about your stories? Do you want to take that one first, Asma?
Sure, yeah, I'll just be real quick about it. So I met our wonderful founder Una. We were doing mental health first aid training together, and I learned about Youth Speak, and I thought, wow, this is incredible. This is a place where people with lived experience are valued. I was like, what? In such a big world of stigma, it's such an amazing opportunity. And, I thought, okay, I'll go for it and join. It was such an incredible experience and very scary at first. I'm not gonna lie, it was very scary to get on a stage and share your story and your vulnerable moments in life. But uh, it's just such a supportive environment, and really we give each other the courage. We give each other pep talks before we speak. We check in with each other really frequently. We checked in with each other earlier today,
Yeah.
and all those things really keep us going.
Yeah, I agree. We're a very, very tight team. And I
Mhm.
consider everyone on the team friends as well, which is really cool. It's a really unique experience to have, especially in a job, you know? It's not every
Mhm.
job you get where you're like, wow, these are my friends. Like, it's
Yes,
amazing. But
true.
I think for me, it was just, I felt so alone when I was a kid and I felt like no one understood me. Um, but I realized there were tons of people who were going through the exact same thing that I was. I thought if I could shed even a little sliver of hope in someone's life, it would be worth it. You know, everything that I'd gone through in my life would have a purpose. So it's kind of just putting purpose behind my story and making a positive message out of my story. And that's really what inspired
Mhm.
me.
I love that. And your story is so powerful. Like I have seen the audience's like faces change with your story. It's just
Oh,
always such
thank
a
you.
good
I love
feeling.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. Lilia. Oh, we've got another question from Diana. How do you have the courage to do it? For me, it's just as I always say, it's a way for me to kind of give back with my story. I'm able to make sure that no one ever feels alone again, especially with rooms of schools, because I know in school that was the hardest part for me. I always felt alone in school, so I'm able to now go, and as hard as it is sometimes with my anxiety, I'm able to go and give people that message that there are people like them.
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's such an important message to share. And really, we learned that through being part of YouthSpeak, that the more
Mm-hmm.
we share, the more other people want to share too. And it just, it just helps open them up to the idea of talking to each other. Um, so for me, it was really not about having the courage, but building the courage and having a supportive group around. I would have never, ever in my life thought that I would be on stages speaking about my life. Like, what? I'm so shy, I'm so introverted that it was just kind of, it didn't feel like it would, like, it was just never something that crossed my mind. But really, it was just, opening myself up a little bit. Like, hey, this is an amazing community to be part of. This is something I want to raise awareness. I want to help, the youth out. And it just kind of happened. But that supportive environment is really what gave me that courage.
Yeah, I totally feel that. So we've got a few more comments. It takes a lot of courage to reach out and be vulnerable, but it often brings deeper connection. Absolutely. That's what I love about working with everyone, right? And speaking with everyone it brings such a deep connection between me and everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Absolutely.
oh, it's so important to be with a team that supports you. Absolutely. Sean said, and second family. Right back at you, Sean.
Mm-hmm.
um, just know it's people like you two that makes discussing mental health so much easier. Thank you. No, thank you. That means so much to me.
Oh my God, Diana, you're the best. That's so sweet.
That warms my heart. Oh, that's such a good way to end too.
Mhm.
Okay, so with that, I want to talk about the contest one more time because there are a few new people and I did go through it pretty fast. So to win the $10 Starbucks gift card, thank you again, Diana. You are fantastic. We super appreciate it. I know anyone who wins it will appreciate it as well. So take a screenshot of you using hashtag Bell Let's Talk. That can be a tweet, a text message, even a Facebook post, something. And send it to our direct messages, our DMs by midnight tonight. We'll announce the winner tomorrow. We'll make sure it's done fairly. Don't worry. Um, yeah, it's that easy. All you have to do is take a screenshot, send it to us. We will be announcing it tomorrow at some point, probably during the afternoon. Don't quote me on that. Don't get mad at me if it's not in the afternoon. We'll get it done as soon as possible, I promise, and you will get your Starbucks gift card. So yeah, please make sure you use hashtag Bell Let's Talk. 5 cents from every time that's used goes towards Canadian mental health initiatives and programs and all sorts of good stuff. And it's a really, really positive day. And it's a day of hope for a lot of people. I know for sure it's a day of hope for me. And it's just been, as usual, a pleasure and honor speaking to you, Asma. And I'm so excited to do it again because I know we will.
Absolutely. It's always such a great time with you, Alex. I love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Remember, hashtag Bell Let's Talk. Let's make this year bigger than any other year. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.